So I knew it. He's got
Hey,
both
this is
cars
Diego
outside.
Accord here.
We're pulling up
Got
and we're gonna
some
check them out.
big news. And you see, I'm
Ooh,
watching a video, and there's a reason I'm watching this video.
I like it. I like it already.
Just
Hopefully
give me a second.
this drives as cool as I think it does because I like it. Let's check it out. All right. So at this point you can see
Okay.
we got an R33 and an R34. Uh, man, so I'm here to look at the.
All right. So, this white R33 in this video is my car. That belongs to me now. It is still at this guy's house. This is the guy that I got it from. Um, and we made a deal very recently. Um, it's still there because we've been having the shittiest weather that is possible, and I'll have it this coming weekend. So about a week from today, it is like Sunday of the current week. So in about a week, I should have it. I should have the it's already insured and stuff like that. I gotta have that due to the loan and stuff. So even though I don't have it in person, it had to be insured for that purpose. And but I should have tags hopefully by Friday, and then when it gets here, I can throw them on. Uh, and drive the car Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it comes. So anyway, yeah. Um, Decided to go ahead and get something, and I said I'd never get something like this because there's actually a Doug DeMuro video on the R33, and I actually just after I went ahead and made this official, I started looking at some R33 related stuff, and I commented on his R33 video like, man, the prices of these things just make it so like dumb to buy something like that because I have this car. I mentioned my Mustang and my Evo. It's like they're so newer and so faster and so less money that it's like, why would you do something like this? And then I'm like, well, that aged like milk because I just did that. Now I forgot that I even wrote that in there until I scrolled the comments, and of course, when you make a comment or whatever, it's going to be the first thing you see. So anyway, yeah, this particular car is mine. Let's see, better picture of it. So, you know, the main reason that I decided to go after a Skyline was because, you know, I need, I'm not gonna say need. I just wanted something new to do with cars, and the big thing I wanted to do was to take my Mustang to Japan. I've been over there a couple times. Hell, I went twice last September, but that was to try to get a license to make it easier to take the Mustang to Japan. And the reason that you would want a license, a Japanese license to do it, because you could get a Japanese license before October 1st of last year without being a resident. It was totally possible. There were some obstacles in my way, and I was unable to do that. And the reason that I would need it is to get car insurance to cover my own car. Now, if I go rent a car, which, every time I go to Japan, I have a car from, landing to takeoff, pretty much. Your own insurance policy is not what's covering you when you are driving a car in Japan. The insurance of the owner, which would in most cases be the rental company, their own policy is what's covering you. But if you want to temporarily import your car using a carnet de passage in douane or a CPD, you have to get your own insurance. But that insurance has to be through a Japanese company. Now, here's the thing. It probably is possible to do that. I mean, it has to be possible to get insurance without a Japanese license. Otherwise, there would be no reason for Japan to accept the CPD, and they do accept the CPD. However, either like nobody fucking hardly ever does it, or nobody that's ever done it has posted on the internet, like, the process that they've gone through. And you will not find it. Does not matter how you try to mince the words, you will not find that information. Google, Yahoo, even AI, it won't tell you. Because here's the thing, even Google, it was easily possible for anybody to get a license regardless of where they actually lived in Japan, right? Like, you didn't have to be Japanese citizens. I can just come over there on a trip, which is what I tried to do. They added an extra step, which is why I wasn't able to do it. They added the step of needing to have a reservation to turn into paperwork. Now, you never needed to do that until, right before they were changing that rule. You used to always have to do a reservation to take your tests, like the driving tests and the written tests and all that stuff. You had to do that, and it would take months. But the part, turning in your paperwork and any kind of documents, that's something that you used to be able to do. Like if you wanted to get the license conversion, you would just take that stuff at the beginning of the day. I mean, you have to wait around all day, but you would have it by the end of that day. And, that just was not the case anymore since they added the step of also needing to have a reservation, which would have taken me beyond October 1st by default. So, no license. Now, here's the thing. Without taking a car to Japan, like, there is nothing for me to do with like with that Mustang. I've had that car for, you know, 9 years, and all the motor work and all that stuff, the work got done to the car in 2020. It is now 2026, so the car's been like that for that long. I've only driven that car maybe 3,000 miles in the last 3 years at this point. And it's not that the car is boring or anything like that, because once I do get behind the wheel, I'm like, yeah. But it's like where I'm at, like, it's just driving, of course, driving a fucking car in Tokyo, in Japan in general, shits on driving a car here. Like, I don't ever get in a fucking car. I haven't done this since I had the S2000. I have not just gotten in a car without a destination and wanted to just drive that car. Now, I don't think it has anything. It may just be more fatigue. That was when I was newer here and whatnot, so everything didn't feel like a fucking horrible thing that you just gotta do. Like, I don't want to drive. I don't want to fucking drive anywhere. It is a chore to pretty much drive anywhere in this whole entire fucking place. Um, and the thing is, after thinking about it, having this car is not going to fix that. It's not going to change it. It's not going to make me want to go anywhere. It's just another car to divide very few miles into. Because, the Evo, I don't drive that shit either. It still needs the tune. I still have to do a couple little things to it before I can finish the tune. I get my fuel pressure down, which I have the part for that, or the part that should take care of that, and then I gotta figure out the exhaust leak, or I know where the exhaust leak's at, to get those AFRs to just like settle down, because the AFRs were good until the exhaust came apart for the bung to be welded for the second O2. Hope the welding for that O2 is now leaking. That would be fucking very bad. But anyway, there's just nothing to do with the cars, and this one's not really gonna move the needle on, like, oh man, there's things to do with cars. I'll probably get spotted in some car groups, but I don't drive my other cars enough to be spotted in car groups because they would be spotted. My Mustang sticks out because of how loud it is. It's low, it's loud. I've got enough things on it that it would stand out when people see, like, the times I do drive around, I'm getting like nods and what's ups and, all this stuff and people trying to race and shit like that. And, I mean, the car basically has zero exhaust and it's got that NA cams and Cobra Jet 8,500 RPM. It stands out. An Evo, again, I don't drive it that much. And people always like freak out over any kind of Evo, even the hated Evo 10. People are, oh my God, Evo. Ah! You know, so there's that. This, maybe I'll be spotted. And, that's not the point of it. I was just thinking, I had that time where I rented that Skyline. I rented that 33 GT-R in Japan. Back in 23, I spent that month of October there. And, that was a pretty good day in the life of Diego Accord, I would say. Now, unfortunately, the other thing about driving those cars is that they're not mine. So, of course, this right here is the one that I rented. And as you see, rented. And if you look at the license plate, you can tell that it's a rental because every rental, doesn't matter if you go to a regular rental car place like Toyota rental car, Nissan rent a car, Oryx, or Times. Not only do they have parking all over the place, but they have rental cars as well. But they'll all have that same symbol next to the numbers. So, next to that 2493, that symbol, every rental car, including this Skyline, since it's a rental car, will have that symbol there. And then, of course, above that is NOTA. And pretty much if you see like a sports kind of car, whatever, with the rental symbol and it says NOTA, it's probably from Omoshiro. But there's also that decal there that they put on most of their cars. I don't think like every single car had that. I think I know the. So when I went back in a couple months ago, I drove the DC5 Type R of theirs and then the FD2. The DC5 did not have a sticker on it, but of course it still had the rental car license plate. But anyway, the thing is, when you rent cars from this place, these cars are not in the greatest of shape. That's one thing that I don't like, and that's one reason I wanted to rent, or I wanted to bring my own car. Like, I trust that fucking Mustang to drive me around perfectly, the whole time I'm there. This car, I distinctly remember when I got closer to the city, and I put the windows down because when I got the car, the AC was on, windows were up, and you get on the highway immediately, driving from Noda to Tokyo or wherever you're staying, and then once I get off the highway, I roll the windows down, turn the AC off, and it's just like all these fucking crazy noises, like just like old junk car noises. I'm like, oh man, I wanted to take the car back, but it takes an hour to drive from central Tokyo to Noda, so I would have lost an hour driving there and another hour driving back, and whatever car I would have gotten. If I would have chosen another car, I wouldn't have gotten the difference on the price of a GTR. And the GTR is going to be like their most expensive tier of car to rent. But yeah, I wanted to, take my own fucking car. Plus, it's my own car. When people wanted to take pictures of this car, like when I was driving, people were giving me thumbs up and they're asking to take pictures whenever I parked it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, of course, it's like, yeah, no problem. But you're going to see somebody else driving this car tomorrow. If I pull up and, if you go to Daikoku, every single one of these cars that somebody has out probably goes to Daikoku every time. I'm like, I go to Daikoku and I can recognize Omoshiro cars immediately. Like the last time I was there, with the FD2 or something like, yeah, it was with the FD2, and I noticed the EK9 that belonged to Omoshiro. I'm like, of course I can just look at the plate and tell that it was Omoshiro's, but it also had the certain mods. Like it has Kosei, um, what are those things called? Those Kosei like 5-spoke or 6-spoke wheels, Kosei K1s or something like that. So it's a white EK9 with Kosei, like gray Kosei K1s or whatever they're called. And like I literally just knew that it was that car. I pulled up to Tatsumi parking area. That's that last night as well, and there was an FK8 Civic Type R. No, it was an FL5. It was the newest one, and he had the almost Shiro sticker too. He actually came up to me, or he came up to the people I was talking to, like, "Hey man, who's driving that Civic Type R?" And then he introduced himself as the person that was driving the other one, and it was him and his boy with him. And his boy was like, "Oh man, yeah, so you're the reason I couldn't get that FD2 because that's what I was trying to get." And I mean, I chose the FD2 for a reason. I actually chose the DC5 because it's a Honda, and I chose the FD2 because it's a Honda. I don't like the FL5 or the FK8. I just think they're fucking ugly ass cars, and they don't. You know, I don't know if they're like good cars. I know they're fucking price wise. They cost 50 grand, which is. I mean, I paid in that range for the Skyline, but it's still a fucking Skyline, GT-R. So, eh. But anyway, yeah. So I decided I wanted something like I can't take my car to Japan, so I want to do something like car wise. And the thing was, look for Skyline, look for a Skyline. I'm like, I want to driving. It's bittersweet because it's gonna be my own Skyline. It's my own Skyline GT-R, but I don't get to drive it in fucking Japan. I mean, I would rather drive my own car. I'd rather drive my Mustang in Japan than drive anything else in Japan or here. Like you tell me, hey man, it has to be like my favorite car ever for me to just want to choose it over my own car. It has to be like a fucking F40, which is to me the best car ever made. Ferrari F40. You tell me, hey, you can drive a fucking Ferrari F40 in Ohio, or you can drive your own car in Japan. I mean, I'll still have to think about it, but at least I'll have to think about it because Japan shits on this place easily. I mean, what I want to do, I want to see fucking cows and farms and shit in between like the few big cities, like the or decently sized cities. The cities here aren't big, but I mean, like there's just nothing to do. Like it doesn't matter what I'm driving. Like I said, driving this isn't gonna be any better. But anyway, so again, I start looking at mostly R33s. I consider very nice R34 GTTs, but the problem is all the nice R34 GTTs seem to mostly be posted, like all the ones that I would want. They've got, maybe a turbo swap, a bigger turbo, the GTR like front bumpers, maybe the GTR rear wide body as well, and you know, nice wheels and stuff like that. No sunroof. Those unfortunately seem to not be in the States already. Like because I'm going through the process I am, the car has to be in the States already. And all of the ones, all the good GTTs that I would be interested in, looks like they were from New Zealand, from that importer. Is it importer car or something like that? So that, I would have to have gone through that to really get a GTT worth considering. So they do have good ones or what seems to be good ones for what seems to be good prices for what you're getting in the car. But anyway, looking at mostly 33 GTRs because, I mean, a GTS 25T out of the question. R32, I'm like I don't like those. I don't really like 32s like that much in general, whether it's a GTR or not. Um, but I mean, the right one could have swayed me. There's a pretty sick white one at the same at that Northwest or whatever Speedworks Northwest. They had a white one with gold BBS wheels, which was pretty fucking sick. But R32s, they still have one issue that they all, like all the ones I looked at, seem to still have, which is the bubble on the dashboard and stuff like that. Nah, that's not something I want to fucking deal with. It would bother me so much to look at that shit like all the time. But anyway, 33s and that. Now that color, that blue color, because, I thought that was midnight purple. I always thought that was a midnight purple on that 33 that I rented, but it's actually blue. I don't remember what it's called. But that was my preferred color. And then white. So this car, it's just the right car at the right time. So I look at a car at a Speedcraft, or was it Speedcraft Craftworks. So I looked at a car at Craftworks. It was a silver 33 GTR with some stock 34 GTR wheels and a bunch of audio stuff. The Carrozzeria or whatever it is. Like it's Pioneer makes it. It's a JDM brand, like a JDM high end brand. But the stuff that comes in those JDM cars is not going to be the newest shit. Like it may have Bluetooth in it or something, but you're probably not going to have Apple Play. And if it does have Apple Play, it's probably going to be like old enough to have like that big ass wide connector for the iPod or something. If that even is like an Apple Play thing, I don't know. But anyway, because of that, and I'm like, nah. But it was clean. I mean, it didn't have any rust on it whatsoever. So it was worth considering for that reason. But, like all the audio mods that it had, like, these speakers that had these weird enclosures, like the rear speakers and stuff like that. And the door speakers didn't have like the covers because of that stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't want to have to try to find miscellaneous pieces for the interior to like make this right. So I didn't end up getting that one. And then I looked at, I saw a very cheap one at Speedworks Northwest, which I believe they still have that car. It's a white, it's a white 96 as well. Now, oh yeah. So when I was looking at the one from Craftworks, that's when I went ahead and applied for the financing, which was approved. And because I was going to get a C8 back in November, I almost signed to get a C8, but it was a convertible, and that's why I chose not to get that car. All right. So this is that's the chat. I'll actually pull that up here in a second. Just want to make sure everything here was still going on right. Now, anyway, so with the getting the financing on the car, I actually found out that I didn't have to get the card that I actually applied for, which was that silver 97. I didn't actually even have to go with the same place because when I called up Northwest or Speedworks. They said they work with the same banks and they were familiar with the people that work there and stuff like that. So I considered getting that car. They had one for 47,000, which was a lot cheaper than Craft Works. So that one was 58. He was gonna take it down to 56 if I would have like done it right then. Uh, and this one was 47. And he sent a video. He said it did have crust like on the shock towers. It's the first thing I asked because it can't be seen like that well in the photos or whatever. But he did disclose that there's some of that, a little bit of that, and then on the right above the rear windshield, there's a rust bubble that actually like no paint was like right there, like actual rust that could be seen. Um, so I decided to open it up to private sellers since I could, the bank works that way as well. And I post on a Facebook group like, hey, anybody got BCN R33? Which, if I say BCN R33, that means that could only be a GTR. So that means I do not want an HCR 33 or an ER 33 or any of that other shit. So basically, no GTS or GT, what is it? GTS 25T. So none of that. Especially if it's going to be a 33. I'm like, I will probably be paying more for, like, of course, a 33 is going to, I mean, a GTR is going to cost what a GTR is going to cost, but I'm not going to pay, like, I'm not going to overpay for some shit that has, a 200 horsepower or whatever a GTS 25 has, or, even less if it's a fucking NA car. Like, bro, I'm not paying like 20,000 for non-turbo fucking 145 horsepower car. I don't give a fuck what it's called. Because I'd definitely rather have a Civic Si EM1 than a fucking Skyline as a base model. Like the only non GTR that would be in consideration, like I said, was a GTT. But again, all the good looking GTTs that have shit that I would want, just not, we're not already in the States. So anyway, I make the post, and this guy, the guy from the video, messages me, and here we go. Hey, my wife is selling her R33 GT-R because a black R34 is his. This white GT-R, this white 33, was hers. And he's online now. But anyway, it says, right around where you are, best we can do if you're really serious is 53. He's in Tampa. And I say, I'm open if it has things that I would already do. Need some pics and info. And there's the info of the 96 GTR, 72,000 miles. HK super turbo exhaust, downpipe, RPF ones, obviously. A couple little things that were wrong with it. And here's, the pictures, some videos and stuff like that. And then I say, hey man, no way you can let her go for 51. I said, let me ask her really fast if you don't mind. It's her car. She doesn't want to go that low, but if you're serious, I can tell her, look, you can have it sold fast and we can start looking for her next car. Now, her next car is to be, what they're looking for is midnight purple, or that silver, or that, not silver, but that like grayish purple kind of looking deal of a 33 as well. So that's what they're looking to replace this with. So anyway, he says, she's asking how serious is he and when would he buy it? And I said, I'll be ready to proceed basically ASAP. This is going through a lender, so they'll have some steps on their side for her to complete. I said, I'm looking at hers and the one that's 47,000, which I believe they still have that car for sale. The one that's 47,000 at Speedworks. At 51, hers is a no-brainer. And then it says, she said okay. And as you can see by the scroll bar, we go down, all the stuff is done on the car. I'm just waiting on the guy to pick it up. There's a local guy that everybody uses to do their more expensive cars. He is taking a Viper down this coming weekend, and I split the cost with the Viper for the return trip, because otherwise, you still got to pay the full amount for the empty return trip. So he gets it on the way down there. Then he picks this up, brings it to me, and hopefully all I should have to do is put my tags on it and or my tag on it, and that should be good. So anyway, that's the deal. I paid 51 for this car, which seems like a pretty good deal considering what these kind of go for. And the thing is also, since he said it had a HKS super turbo muffler, I googled HKS super turbo muffler R33, and boom, this car was there. Like, it was. He actually did a video on the exhaust of this car on YouTube. So, that was interesting to see. And then also the video that I played at the beginning, I remember that video when it was first posted with Victor going to drive the R34. And it just occurred to me randomly, like a couple days ago, like, wait up, didn't he go to a guy house in Florida who had a black 34 and a white 33 at the house in Florida? So I went through his channel, and then of course I watched that video, and like, sure enough, it's the same guy that I'm getting, that I got this car from. Same car, of course. So anyway, in looking at the guy himself, his channel, maintenance was done up to date and stuff like that on this car. And these aren't even videos that he showed or anything like that. Like I said, I just came across his channel by searching for the exhaust, and he just happened to already make a video of the exhaust. So that's pretty much, that's it. That's the new, this is the new car. Again, I don't really think that there's going to be, it's not going to like ignite anything in me, because I'm looking at, I would be looking at it like it's going to be slower than everything I have, as well. Like, everything that I have is going to would run circles around this. And it needs suspension. There was suspension on it, but it was taken off. Probably, well, obviously to put on to the next one, because he has an Instagram, and his wife has an Instagram, and of course I had to look at those, and you can see where it has different wheels. It has like some Advans, and it's got the suspension, and he said it needs to be aligned, since the suspension was taken off back for stock. So I got to do something about that, because that looks bad, especially in the front. Like, that looks fucking horrible in terms of how much space, like how much wheel gap there is. Very bad. And then it also has a steering wheel that is not something I would want on on my car. So those two things will be first, and then I'll have to think about what I'm gonna do muffler wise, because the HKS Super Turbo, it is very fucking quiet. And if you listen to any videos of my cars, none of them are quiet. Like the quietest car is the C43, and I don't have anything done to that. But I mean, it still sounds good, and that's not a car that I would want to be loud, because I could do downpipes and with no cats and shit on that car and get it tuned, and it would be a loud car too. But I like it being a little classy and sounding, I mean, it sounds good when you put it in Sport Plus, and the exhaust flaps open up and shit. It sounds pretty good. I really don't want that car sounding like louder than that. But the Evo has a pretty much straight through exhaust with the open wastegate dump, big tubular manifold, so it sounds rowdy as fuck. It sounds like a motorcycle when you're getting on it. A Mustang has no exhaust, cams and Cobra Jet, 8,500 RPM, so that's nothing but pure noise. This having a stock manifold, that's still an issue. Like stock turbo manifold cars usually sound like ass. I mean, Skylines sound decent, but it could sound better with tubular manifold. And a muffler that's just more of a straight pipe style muffler. I mean, HKS Super Turbo reminds me, if you compare it to something like an N1, it's more like a World Sport. So it's got that mellow kind of sound that I'm not a fan of in general. I like that raspy. I like the shit. I like that shit. Um, so like with the Mustang, you're never gonna see me put an H pipe on that shit or try to tone it down. If I do anything, I put a boom tube on that motherfucker. But yeah, with this, I don't know, because I also don't know the brands, like what brands to get. Like because I looked at manifolds and stuff, because I'm like, man, tubular manifold. I know this will sound good with a tubular manifold, but then I'll start looking at it like, oh man, if I'm doing a manifold, I gotta do fucking turbos or a turbo, and then of course you can't do any of that shit without needing to do ECU shit. So you're gonna be like, I need a Haltech, and then I need fuel injectors, and like I don't want to fucking get into that. So, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, so that is it. Hopefully in about a week, I'll have a video of me driving this car. The last time and first time I drove a GT-R, it did not belong to me. This time, it does. So, or this next time, it will. And we'll see how little miles I can manage to rack up on it. All right, that's enough for now.